and you'll lead us through this next session. And I sent you my little email.
Oh, did you send me something? I'm sorry. Thank you. Camera going. Okay. We are in the last session of our day, and thank you everybody for sticking with us all day like this. And I hope you found it as informative as I have. We do have a couple comments that have come in, or things that people have wanted to ask about. And okay, we have one comment or one question. This is connected to the last session, but we would like to hear more about the OOSLP. Does that include research, e.g. doctoral research? It does seem to fit in the criteria in the handbook, but want to confirm.
Yeah. Brandy, do you have any knowledge about that? I see Emily is still here and Jeannie maybe.
I can jump in if you want.
Okay, Marianne.
So it does kind of depend on what's happening, but if it is independent research, like a dissertation, you do not count that. Or working on their master's thesis, you wouldn't have to report that. I think we've got a little clarifying comment about that in the manual itself. But we could probably do a little bit better job of putting that in the actual handbook. So that's what took me a little while to get back on. I was writing myself a little note. So that's a good question. Thanks. And you can email me if you have other questions like that. If you have a specific scenario, because institutions do super creative things, which is great. And we don't want to stymie that. But we got to just figure out a way to determine if they have to be counted or not, or how to do that. But I think the big thing is, think of it in the spirit of SARA. Is that kind of what we're trying to get at? Anyway, email me if you have more specifics.
Okay. Well, here's another topic. We are updating the SARA regulations for Missouri. Is there anything in the regs that is currently unclear or that you would like to be addressed? If you have feedback on that we can take into account, it would be appreciated. Well, you can continue to think about that. It doesn't have to be right now, but you can certainly email me or Laura, and we are happy to have a further discussion about it, take it into account when we are updating those regulations. Here's another question for you. Who has read the SARA policy manual in this group? If you can put your hand up. What do I need to do or bring forward as an issue that you would like me to convey, or Laura or Brandy can bring to the regional steering committee? Hey, Diane. All right.
See, we got one.
Thank you. Are there issues or questions, concerns about the SARA policy manual that we should know? Darla has read it. I saw that. I don't know if I've seen any other thumbs ups.
The question, I'm going to follow up on that. Does everybody know where the SARA manual is at?
You putting that in the chat, Laura?
I will put that in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, we've got a lot of thumbs up on that, so that's good. I don't know if that's a thumbs up to people knowing where it's located or having read it, but both are good.
That's the first step.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Increased federal oversight. Inside Higher Education had a story about fewer financial aid professionals at institutions that impacted responsiveness to students and parents. How are SARA compliance issues looming for you? Do you feel a burden?
And that was my question, because if the financial aid offices are feeling strapped, and we know state authorization is an issue that this administration is looking at. How y'all doing? I wonder if there's anybody out there who's trying to talk and they're muted. Because I know a lot of you people, and y'all ain't.
You're having a hard time talking or unmuting, let me know in the chat and maybe I can assist with that. Or you can put your comments about this topic in chat about how you're feeling about the...
Thanks, I didn't know you wanted us to unmute. This is Diane.
Oh, hey Diane, sorry about that. Yes, you can unmute and give us your feedback on that.
Well, I'd say just as you mentioned a couple sessions ago about the possible increase in fee to support personnel, because there's more and more to do related to this big picture area as well as each slice of it. I think that's how institutions are feeling. I read that article that was just mentioned. It was a perspective. They don't have the hard data to show that, but just like the difficulty in hiring a lot of positions these days, I would imagine that follows suit. So I would say, especially from a small institution, we wear many hats already, and each time there's an additional item to do, adding the disclosures, adding all those things, it adds to the to-do list for a particular person. And at some point, that to-do list just overflows to the point you can't do it all, can't do it well. So I think I understand where you're coming from about needing additional help, but I would say every time USDE, NC SARA, the state adds something, there's that domino effect to each institution as well.
There's a comment that's come in from Chris at Jefferson College. We have a lot of people serving double or triple duty these days. Any additional compliance and reporting is an increased burden for overworked, exhausted staff.
100%. 100%. So this is, a mini opportunity, to, again, like Alicia said, just think about it, and you can email us later. What can we do within the policy and regulations to help? What can we do to kind of relieve even a tiny bit of that burden? I think having the application in Advera is helpful, because you can always go back to it every year. It's always.
And I wanted to just, we're just popping around, so please jump in on any of these topics. But Brandy had also asked a question in chat: how often do other institutions request that students update their current location? And anybody that would like to unmute and answer that, or put your comment in the chat, you are welcome to do that.
Yeah, that's a good question. When I was going to Columbia College, like one semester I would be on campus, and another semester I'd be online, and I would just kind of hop back and forth. I know it was probably a headache for them, but that was before SARA. Jessica commented, our students are prompted each semester when logging into the system.
Other questions, comments for us? And I'll throw one more thing out there, and it's about this meeting. How do you feel about doing something like this every year? Is it a good use of your time? Did it answer questions? Do you have feedback for us on that? We would consider doing this as much as, or as often as would be useful for you. And you can again put that in chat, unmute if you have some comments about that.
And Alicia, I'd say let's put like a little mini survey in our follow-up to everybody.
Yeah.
Just to, maybe they'll think of something afterwards, like, oh, I wish I had mentioned that.
It's nice to have a forum, I think, just for us as a statewide, just to talk about things that might be on our mind or share best practices. Okay, yeah, we're getting some feedback on that. That's good. Let's see. This is helpful, but could possibly be shorter. I also found the legal info from Aaron extremely helpful. Yes, I agree that was. And we had a question about the videos. What we're going to do is we're going to have our videos edited. We'll post them to YouTube, and then we'll also put them on our SARA page. And when I'm imagining that's going to take maybe about a week. I'm just guessing. And we can send out a mass email to this list when those are available, so that you can reference them.
We can probably get the slide decks to everybody this week sometime, because we have those, but we don't have Aaron's.
No, I think Aaron's must have not have come into our inbox because they were the slide that it was too large or something. But we'll get that figured out. And then Jessica wrote, is there or could there be a listserv to ping the group with questions such as Brandy's?
I think we can look into that. I know that NASAPS has its own listserv, and anybody can ask questions on that, and it goes out to all the members. Let's look into Missouri SARA listserv or NC SARA listserv.
I'm just kind of following up verbally on that. I think the part that for me, I love not reinventing a wheel. So if there's either, if any of us can help each other or not spin wheels, again, to the points that folks made about being short staffed. I mean, everybody's feeling it. So if there's any way we can help each other, that would, not only does it help our home institution, but we might be able to spread that knowledge and save some of our colleagues some time.
Absolutely.
So, this is Jill Edwards. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I have a question, and I'm not sure if this is for SARA, but I did ask the question earlier with Aaron, and it has to do with the Department of Education's new definition of distance education. And I'm just wondering if you've had any feedback from institutions, or if anyone on this call has had any feedback, or how they're handling it. The definition about if one course is offered in a distance education, if one course is offered through distance education, the entire program is considered a distance education. And our liaison at the Higher Learning Commission, if I understood him correctly, was saying that the new requirement that also came down from the Department of Education about changes to existing degrees, that going back to July 2020, that say if we offer one distance education course in let's just say in a program in arts and sciences, and there is a student in the business school that wants to take that is in person, and that student wants to take that one online course offered in arts and sciences, that business school program is now considered distance education. Is that how you understand it? Is that how SARA understands it?
Jeannie. First, I think it's super important to differentiate between what the federal rule is saying there for institutions in general and your accreditor standards and everything that relates to those versus SARA. For SARA purposes, of course, anything that comes through your institution through distance ed, as long as you're SARA participating, is going to be covered. So remember that in SARA, we're looking at the full institution, and we're not looking at individual programs. So once you're in SARA, whatever you're doing is covered, so we're not going to parse that out. So at that point, it becomes separate from us, and it becomes something for you to work with your accreditor liaison, as well as your general counsel, to talk about how that looks for you to meet the Title IV regulations under the federal rules.
Okay, that's helpful.
So that's like a third of an answer for you.
Yeah, it is.
SARA
But it's
stuff is
helpful,
right.
though.
Yeah, apologies, but that is the SARA answer.
Sure. So basically, it's between the accreditor and the Department of Education right now.
Well, you as an institution, of course, will still need to make sure you're meeting, what the federal definition is for that
Correct.
particular program. But, just make sure that you're talking with your liaison, assuming, let's say, you're HLC.
Yes.
And you're working with them, but also, of course, make sure that your Office of General Counsel or whomever you work with from your compliance office is aware of this situation, because again, it is different. It's different than it used to look. It may be different than some of your programs are structured. And again, that's just, very generic advice from someone who used to have to follow these extremely closely prior to my NC SARA engagement.
If anything else anyone would like to talk about, take advantage of some of these great knowledge resources on this call today.
Yeah, I think we totally lucked out calendar-wise for Marianne and Jeannie and Emily and Aaron.
Yes. If not, Laura and I and all the staff here at MDHE-WD would like to thank you for attending today. And we will, as mentioned, post the slides on our website and provide video links, and also contact you with a survey. And we will, thanks for we got some feedback about how often to have this, and maybe we can make this an annual type of meeting, and just try and help share with one another how we're doing in the SARA world. So, okay. Laura, did you have anything you'd like to say?
I always have stuff to say. But, I think that's what we needed to share. Again, appreciate everybody taking the time out to be with us today. We're going to take notes from the chat so that we have your comments for posterity. I know that Jill was asking, is there any way to get a transcript? I think we just need to let Mervin know that when he's transcribing it to YouTube to include the CC option, and then like everything will be on there. He may be able to pull a transcript or something for us as well. We find this useful because so we're not 100% SARA all the time. So getting feedback from you guys is very valuable so that we can make the best use of our time. We really do want to help you guys meet the SARA requirements so that you don't have to worry if the federal regulators come in and start asking questions about your distance ed program. You are good to go. So with that, I want to wish you guys a wonderful day. We get a little bit of time of your day back, and I won't tell your bosses if you won't tell mine. Alicia, if you would hang on a little bit, because I do want to chat with you. But everybody else, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and we will get information out to you that we